In a fighting business, karma isn't some mystical cosmic force. It is a beautiful moment when a fighter decides he's untouchable, and reality steps in with a brutal correction. Across the history of combat sports, we've seen the same story play out. Showboaters, taunters, dancers, trash talkers, cheap shot artists, all those guys mocking their opponents, clowning around, talking trash they can't cash, and then getting humbled in the most poetic, highlight-worthy way possible. Today, we're diving into the most satisfying karma moments ever recorded. You're about to see stories proving that in fighting business, fists don't lie, but karma hits even harder. If you love poetic justice, sit down and enjoy. The archives of the world's biggest kickboxing promotion, Glory, are filled with countless highlights for the ages. And today, we're bringing back one of the most infamous ones. On June 10, 2017, Paris hosted a card featuring Mirthel Groenhart versus Harut Grigorian, two men with nearly 70 knockouts combined. The matchup promised violence. And that's exactly what we got, though not in the way anyone expected. The first round was a razor-close firefight where neither athlete wanted to back down.
For that withdrawal by Groenhart, who said, listen, if he could... Mirthel Groenhart loves those flying knees, but he just ate a left knee there.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna do. Eventually has to stay in there more and just throw.
You can see Grigorian has his feet planted on the canvas, just sitting down on all his punches. That knee may have stunned Grigorian a little bit. Looks a little wobbly.
There's those uppercuts.
And he's being wobbled. Oh, nearly knocked down. Bounced back off the ropes. And not all there right now.
Groenhart still managed to steal the round on all judges' scorecards, but the real chaos was waiting at the very start of round two. Grigorian ate a ton of knees, and that last one must have really scrambled his brains, to the point where he thought the round was over, or the ref called timeout. Groenhart didn't hesitate for a second.
Judges, oh my!
Yes, technically, it wasn't against the rules. However, that doesn't mean it wasn't cowardly, dishonorable, or unsportsmanlike. And honestly, the worst part wasn't even the punch from behind. It was the fact that he started celebrating that kind of victory.
Why Grigorian stopped, I don't know if he was hurt, but at that point he should have taken a knee and not turned his back.
So a free shot delivered by Groenhart. Then he goes to the ring to celebrate. And KO!
The response didn't take long. Groenhart immediately felt the consequences as Grigorian's corner jumped in.
It's insanity! Boom, right there, and then he eats a couple more shots. And you can see Nick Hemmers pulling that guy back, the canvas.
Well, all the security's coming in, thankfully for all the security.
To his credit, Groenhart later apologized to Grigorian, but words didn't matter.
There's a world title on the line. If you turn your back like that, like you said, Todd, defend yourselves.
Harut had already taken note. Justice was served in less than a year. Harut came in laser-focused on revenge and wasted no time.
Oh, that right hand connected, and Groenhart is dead! That is a knockdown!
Are you
Is he
okay?
gonna continue?
Come right here.
He wanted blood.
Harut's ready to go!
And right after the next exchange, the fight was over. Harut Grigorian became the new welterweight champion, but more importantly, he delivered rightful payback. Karma landed perfectly.
What beautiful power! Just called the fight off, but there's Harut ripping the body, and then he came up.
Decided to stop it when he did. Chris Wagner, one of the best referees in the world.
This case shows you shouldn't clown around in the ring in front of a serious opponent. Or at least, don't do it when you're just one step away from disaster. In December 2020, as the world was just starting to open up after the global lockdown, a major boxing event took place in Texas, headlined by Saul Alvarez. But in the undercard, two heavy hitters went at it. Canelo's compatriot, Mexican Julian Pitbull Jr. Fernandez, and the dangerous knockout artist Frank the Cuban Flash Sanchez. A full-on
to defend against that, and you can...
If in the previous case, a fighter's bravado could be chalked up to desperation and an attempt to shake his opponent's psyche, here it was pure disrespect. In 2015, the talented, promising prospect Mark Magsayo, holding a 10-0 record with 8 KOs, fought for the vacant IBF youth title against Rafael Reyes, who, in his career, had lost more than he had won. From the very first round, Reyes acted as if he was the one chasing greatness. He played to the crowd, essentially saying, "Come on, hit me, show me what you've got. I don't see you as a serious opponent." The Mexican tried to get under Magsayo's skin, but the Filipino stayed calm.
Very close fight. Sayo appears to... Overhand right. Getting cocky.
Magsayo was the more technical fighter, outmaneuvering his opponent with speed, avoiding damage while landing plenty of his own. Reyes couldn't land clean shots, and out of frustration started pointing to the center, even resorting to illegal moves. Finally, Magsayo had enough of this disrespect and decided to end it. He unleashed a machine gun flurry of punches, turning Reyes into a punching bag, and delivered the final funeral left uppercut. The referee didn't even bother counting the knockdown and immediately signaled the end of the fight. Reyes got exactly what he asked for and learned a lesson he wouldn't forget for a long time. Be careful what you wish for.
What a beautiful combination by Magnifico. What a fight. What a show of force.
And this is a perfect example of completely unjustified, baseless aggression. But honestly, what else can you expect from a guy nicknamed Lex Luthor? At Jungle Fight 90 in Brazil, Elifrank Cariolano stepped in to face MMA veteran Eduardo Souza. Even at the stare-down, the so-called enemy of Superman showed open disrespect and refused the glove touch. Not only that, he even tried to slap Souza's hand away. Cariolano came in charged and immediately fired off a quick 1-2, showing he wasn't afraid to brawl. Lex Luthor even started clowning around right in the first round and scored himself a knockdown. The first warning bell of impending karma rang a couple of minutes later, and Cariolano even came dangerously close to being finished early. The bell saved him. In the second round, the disrespectful troublemaker was already regretting his antics from earlier that evening. But remorse wasn't enough. Punishment had to come. Sometimes karma strikes instantly, and sometimes it takes its time. This time, it chose the second option. Eduardo Souza made it clear you can't treat him disrespectfully, and ever since, Elifrank Cariolano has always touched gloves with his opponents. A now classic example of bizarre, completely misplaced clowning in the ring. This guy started making faces and gesturing as if to say, "Hit me all you want," trying to mentally break his opponent. And then he went full mockery mode, straight up taunting the other fighter.
Because you cannot open your palm like that, delikado yun. Bawal yun. You don't hit with an opening glove, that's illegal. Right,
So, sa mga ganitong klaseng fight, attorney, anong kailangan i-focus ni Prince Aldo? Okay, round 4 na tayo with a minute 20 seconds
Even
left.
mocking. Tatawa si Albert, but
Ay, mahirap kasi sumuntok.
Major trying to
Ano
pay.
yun? Kunyari lang.
Trying to pay. Fight, you have to
Here's
fight.
Magara.
But I'm going to disqualify you.
But the blonde kid in toxic green shorts with a disarming smile didn't even bother getting angry. He just did his job. No negativity, no emotion.
He's mocking Magara. Magara must really...
A clean right hand landed straight to the face, and a left to the liver ended the fight on the spot. The clowning fighter collapsed to the canvas and couldn't continue. A body shot drained whatever energy he had left, half of which he'd already wasted on pointless pantomime.
Good.
Sakto sa, ano?
Kaliwa.
Sa liver
Clean,
punch.
clean
Liver
punch.
punch.
Legit for you.
Okay, ngayon si Pagara nandyan sa
Sabi ni Prince
sentro
Albert.
ng ring. Subukan niya na going around the ring. Papasalam.
We return to mixed martial arts and head to a country where respect isn't just encouraged. It's absorbed with mother's milk and passed down as a core cultural code. That's right, Japan, and specifically the Risen promotion, where, in classic fashion, MMA fighters compete not in a cage, but in a ring. Meet Ren Hiramoto, a successful Japanese kickboxer with 11 career wins and a flashy 22-year-old prospect. But on that night, he was making his MMA debut, and for some reason decided to act like a rude, obnoxious punk, which was especially strange considering his opponent was Kyohei Hagiwara, a man with 6 professional MMA fights behind him. Before the fight even started, Hiramoto put on an arrogant face and threw up a middle finger. Hagiwara just smirked, clearly taking it as a personal insult, which it absolutely was. He immediately set out to show the kickboxer what MMA really looks like. But to the surprise of the arena, Hiramoto defended the first takedown. However, with the following attempts, the experienced fighter managed to bring the fight to the ground. And even when the young striker managed to stand back up, Hagiwara dragged him down again. The execution began slowly, but inevitably. Hagiwara was even close to finishing him, but his arrogant opponent was saved by the bell. That only delayed the inevitable. In the next round, Hagiwara once again dragged him to the canvas, and this time didn't let him go. He unleashed destructive, unanswered strikes, and the referee had no choice but to step in and stop the fight. The experienced fighter delivered a lesson to the cocky kid, and he stopped abusing middle fingers after that. The boxer in this next case started entertaining the crowd right from the opening seconds, and it genuinely felt like he came out not to fight, but to entertain the arena and his opponent.
A lot of facial gestures here. You're going to be able to take so much of this, I can tell you. He's a showman and a half. He actually had, he's 36, he actually had 300 Muay Thai fights before he went into boxing.
Although even the entertaining part wasn't going well. Mostly, he just irritated everyone with his faces, clowning, and overall behavior.
Good two-punch combination up high. 2 minutes into the opening round. Low grain.
This is why he's doing that.
Yeah, that was low.
He barely threw any punches, but he never stopped acting like a goof.
Necessarily winning a whole lot.
Shouldn't laugh. Oh, big overhand right by Yadava.
This went on for 2 full rounds until his opponent finally had enough.
He's bombing away though. It's a Muay Thai fighter.
Bam! A laser-accurate 1-2 and a clean knockout. The referee didn't even bother counting and immediately waved the fight off. Let's hope he learned something that night. A boxing ring is not the place for stupid clowning.
That was a flop if I've ever seen one.
I've never seen that before.
That was a flop and a half. He thought he'd given the crowd enough.
Let's take a small and pleasant break. These ladies are Emily Brooke and Amber O'Donnell. The spark between them ignited instantly. And it didn't matter whether they were fully dressed or, on the contrary, showing up in front of each other with the bare minimum of clothing.
Absolutely. Our official weights, 135 pounds for Amber. Oh! In here, 1 day away. Official weights, 136.7 pounds for Emily Brooke.
Amber raised the temperature in the room just by walking in.
It's that time, folks. Of course, we're gonna have some back and quickly here.
I'm gonna fuck you up. I fucking mean it. I mean it. Manny, I'm so fucking hungry to smash your fucking chin. You're gonna draw me.
There it is from Amber O.
The stare down and weigh-ins turned out insanely heated, and Amber couldn't hold herself back. She shoved Emily, trying to intimidate her, which only made fans even more excited for the upcoming fight between 2 beautiful women. The fight itself was absolutely brutal. Neither of them wanted to back down. Faces crumbled from punches. Makeup ended up smeared across each other's gloves, and both fighters proved they're not just pretty faces for the stage. They can scrap until the very end. The ladies drew attention not only at the weigh-ins, but in the ring as well. Amber was the more active one before the fight, but Emily proved everything where it mattered and walked away with a hard-earned decision victory. But Amber shouldn't be too upset. The fans' hearts are clearly on her side, even after the losses. Get ready for a truly satisfying moment. Just look at this guy. He's absolutely crazy. This is Shainachatka Zoltsetseg, a Mongolian star of 1 championship, and the only thing harder than pronouncing his name is watching his behavior in the ring. He screams constantly, makes faces, clowns around,
Ali
Mohammed and just really put on a...
and tries to humiliate every opponent with blatant arrogance. And if he can't humiliate them, he'll at least try to scare or embarrass them.
Asking Mark to come at him, so he's going to do some big counters.
Very often, it actually worked.
So Mark could do some knocking head, the sharpest legs you've ever seen. But
with a lead right, he's got to reset quickly to put the counter. But these two,
A lot of trouble there. Shinny really going for it.
And in 2018, he had another fight under the one banner, this time against Filipino sensation Mark Abelardo. The Mongolian started at full throttle and immediately showed disrespect toward his opponent.
he might be able to use that. He's showboating right now in the middle of the ring.
Simplify Shinchek's name and we'll just call him Shine from this point on because, wow, he's put Rich Franklin's One Warrior series.
He's going to put out the running man in a second.
Unfortunately for Mark, his opponent was faster, more accurate, and Abelardo looked intimidated.
Kicks to the head, that is. So,
However, out of nowhere, Abelardo showcased brilliant timing and scored a beautiful takedown. Once he got the fight where he wanted it, Mark began a full-on punishment session.
Just trying to avoid the damage. Haven't gotten a stand-up at this point, the ground and pound.
There's some blood.
There is some damage.
Elbow's been throwing in. Mark's corner telling him to continue working. Those elbows are going. Mark is...
For over a minute, he hammered his opponent's head into the canvas, knocking out all that disrespectful crap. After taking several heavy shots, fists and elbows alike, the Mongolian quickly quieted down, and after the bell, he looked far from the tough guy he was earlier. That short lesson turned out to be enough. Shinchek couldn't continue the fight, and stood there looking very sad as the winner was announced. Agreed. Pretty satisfying sight after what we saw at the start, right? Let's talk about another bright and colorful Asian fighter, but this time a far more famous one. Shinya Aoki is a legendary Japanese MMA veteran who even shared the ring with Fedor Emelianenko.
This is a very unique M1 exhibition. Emelianenko, huge on the belly to belly.
Shinya Aoki, the world's best lightweight versus the world's best heavyweight.
Flying armbar attempt by Shinya Aoki. Could not straighten out the arm of Fedor Emelianenko. All smiles from both fighters in this exhibition. Aoki may be the best submission specialist in MMA, and without question, Emelianenko the best fighter pound for pound in MMA.
Most throws by Emelianenko.
People forget that Fedor Emelianenko is the best Sambo practitioner in the world. #1 in the sport of combat Sambo. Aoki going for the ride.
But Aoki technically on the ground is one of the most difficult guys to get a handle on. Has some of the most flexible legs in the history of MMA.
Aoki is pulled off. Look how quick Fedor Emelianenko is against the best lightweight in the world.
See, we've been fortunate enough, Sean, to see Fedor fight more than once, and his speed is incredible for a heavyweight. He's fast at lightweight, but...
Fedor Emelianenko.
Aoki now taking off the gi. Whoa, beautiful throw by Aoki.
Then the reversal by Fedor Emelianenko.
Going for that Sambo footlock, the Aoki tap.
But more than anything, Shinya loved choking, breaking, and completely dismantling his opponents on the ground.
Said something. Oh, he is in trouble.
Oh, you
Going
see?
for the rear naked choke.
Oh, that is. Oh my God, this
Aoki's
is so
locking
dumb.
in.
So dumb. Why? No, this is over.
Aoki's got it. That's it.
And Aoki was never shy about showing blatant disrespect toward a beaten opponent. That's exactly what happened in his fight with Mizuto Hirota. On the very last day of 2009, Aoki faced his fellow countryman under the K1 banner. The skill gap was obvious immediately. Aoki dragged the fight to the canvas almost instantly and started dominating. Shinya disabled Hirota's arm and began smashing him on the ground. Aoki's superiority in grappling was brutal and borderline humiliating, so much so that the idea of mercy never even crossed his mind. But breaking Hirota's arm wasn't enough. Shinya decided to make his dominance absolute, a disgusting move that massively stained his reputation and karma. The payback didn't come right away. Exactly 1 year later, again, December 31st, Again, at a K1 event, Aoki stepped in against another Japanese fighter, Yuichiro Nagashima. Nothing seemed dangerous at first. The entire first round was fought on the feet, and Shinya stayed safe. But the climax came at the very start of round 2, when Aoki finally decided to shoot for a takedown. And that's when it landed. A brutal karmic knee straight to the jaw. Aoki was out cold before he even hit the canvas, and the follow-up shots were just a formality.
This is going to be a great New Year's. No better way to go down. Dude, he got crushed by that knee. Son of a gun. It's safe.
2 vicious finishes, both on the last day of the year, exactly 12 months apart. One of the clearest examples of karma in MMA. Another perfect example that showboating in the ring isn't meant for everyone. If you want to entertain the crowd, you'd better be ready to back it up with real boxing skills. Because if you don't have those, the only thing people will remember is how much of a clown you looked like. This boxer decided to spend his energy and focus not on the fight, but on putting on a full circus performance from start to finish. He threw out weird gestures, taunted his opponent, and annoyed absolutely everyone around him. There would have been a lot more to say about this case if the guy in red shorts actually backed it up with good boxing, but he didn't. In the end, the only thing he managed to show was getting dropped with a knockdown and then straight up quitting and failing to continue the fight. Another reminder, if you want to show off in front of the audience, do it with your skills, not with theatrics. Sometimes even legends get punished for their own showmanship. Prince Naseem Hamed had barely passed the age of 20 when he already became one of the best boxers in the world, winning the featherweight title and defending it successfully. One of the things that made Prince Naseem truly special was the way he transformed in the ring. He didn't just fight, he performed. His trademarks were the dances, the music, the leopard print shorts, the flamboyant entrance. Inside the ring, Hamed turned into a real artist, creating more than just a fight, creating art. But sometimes he went too far, openly disrespecting his opponents. For a long time, he got away with it. Prince Naseem had 37 fights, 36 wins, 31 of them by knockout. But that one fight changed everything. Before another title bout, this time against Marco Antonio Barrera, Naseem did what he always did. Talked a lot, tried to get in his opponent's head.
Barrera. But I think it's easier than a lot of people's talking about. So I don't think he's going to show or prove himself or prove anything in that fight. What do you think will happen? Because Barrera's already been knocked out twice by Junior Jones, while Junior Jones was not at his best.
And hyped up the fight in every possible way. It was a clash between the two best featherweights in the world, and a quick win for the Prince was expected. But Barrera quickly wiped the smug grin off the British champion's face and brought a level of resistance Naseem wasn't prepared for. Hamed aggressively rushed at Barrera, trying to knock him out just like he promised, but his punches either missed or were blocked, while Barrera countered cleanly and repeatedly shook Hamed with precise shots. Exchange after exchange, round after round, Barrera outboxed Hamed and slowly took the fight over. It soon became clear that Naseem had nothing for Barrera's airtight defense, flawless footwork, and heavy counters.
Shades of the Cesar Soto bout in Detroit. Coming into the ring. Hard left hand by Prince Naseem. Seems power that Barrera is fighting the way he is.
From that left hand.
Big left hand by Barrera. Big left hand by Prince Naseem.
Like he's doing more damage to you. Rather than...
Clinch will tell you that Hamed has found out he's in with it.
Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, I got it. What Lauer is doing, he's pacing himself.
Naz stalking and trying to land.
Down right here. Barrera.
In the end, Barrera earned a well-deserved unanimous decision. For Hamed, this became the only loss of his career. He never recovered from the humiliation. He fought only once more and then walked away from the sport. Marco Antonio Barrera didn't just bring Prince Naseem back down to earth, he broke his spirit. After that night, Hamed was never the same again.
win against Barrera.
Let's get back to the ladies for a moment. This is Savannah Marshall, a British boxer, MMA fighter, and just a very humble, kind, and pleasant person. In July 2023, as the dominant WBO champion, she met Franchon Cruz de Zern with every major title in women's boxing on the line. The fire between them sparked instantly.
The weight 11 stone, 13 pounds.
Adding extra spice to the situation was the fact that Cruz de Zern was a close friend of the great Claressa Shields, the same Claressa Shields who had beaten Savannah in her previous fight and denied her the chance to become champion. Savannah stayed humble and respectful, never showing negativity, but Cruz de Zern brought savageness.
Even more hungrier than the first time.
Hungry for an ass whooping. I'm gonna have plenty to feed you, I promise you. I promise you. They call me Big Mama for a reason, because when I come through, I shut everything down.
How bad do you want the rematch with Claressa?
I wanted it bad. The opportunity's not there for me. This is what I've got now.
Is your pride hurt?
Yeah, of course it was. Yeah.
Is she getting in the way?
Yeah, she is.
You know I love you, girl. You gonna move me out the way? You gonna move me out the way?
I am now. I'm gonna push you out the way.
I don't think it's in you. I don't think it's in you. I'm a big dog. I've been a big dog for a long time.
I know you have.
Are we believing those smiles, Johnny?
I discern them when you out of her.
Because for me, even when I win, I lose. When you lose, you get babysat. You get pushed. Oh, I get another opportunity. I want the rematch.
Trying her best to humiliate and mentally break the challenger. But Marshall didn't fold. Inside the ring, they went to war, and the Brit didn't give up a single exchange without a fight. The women clashed head-to-head, and the match was incredibly tough to score. But this time, justice sided with the humble, bright side, and Savannah walked away with the victory via majority decision. This is an incredibly textbook example, a perfect embodiment of two completely different cultures clashing. David Lemieux from Canada behaves humbly and respectfully, almost excessively so. Spike O'Sullivan, on the other hand, as a true son of Ireland, taunted his opponent, flashed arrogant smirks, and did everything he could to mentally break David, even pressing his fist into Lemieux's face during the stare-down, which is traditionally considered a very rude gesture, especially when you do it to a Canadian. David didn't forget that disrespect, but he chose to answer in the ring. Once the bell rang, the polite Lemieux dropped the manners, and the moment the opportunity presented itself, he showed exactly how you're supposed to use your fist when you bring it that close to someone's face. A gorgeous left hook straight to the jaw, and a brutal knockout. A simple, quick, and perfectly clear demonstration of karma in action. Always respect your opponent, even during the stare-down.
Perfect. He sees the shot on the inside.
Touch the chin.
You know
right there. As soon as he felt...
Paige Van Zandt was a bright UFC prospect who, despite never achieving major success there, still managed to charm the hearts of MMA fans everywhere. Well, not just their hearts. Paige found a second wind in her career after moving to BKFC, where she could fight with bare knuckles while also growing her OnlyFans on the side. In February 2021, she made her promotional debut against the tough Britton Beltran Hart. Trash talk started long before fight night, and their mutual hostility peaked at the weigh-in.
You got it twisted. You got it twisted. You wanna fight again tomorrow?
At first, it seemed like Britain showed unprovoked aggression and outright disrespect, but the slow-motion replay made things clear. It was Van Zandt who crossed the line first. Paige grabbed her opponent by the neck and shoved her. Not exactly the best display of manners for someone entering a new promotion. Britain Hart immediately showed that she was the seasoned veteran here, and that such disrespect wouldn't be tolerated. Van Zandt quickly realized that bare-knuckle boxing is nothing like MMA, and that she'd have to adapt fast, but Britain wasn't offering the warmest welcome.
To the body, half-tie blunt, held by Paige Van Zandt.
A minute for your eyes to see what's really going on.
Van Zandt now trying to do the walk down with the forward pressure. Counter left hand.
I think she's not liking the way that last round went.
Counter on the right hand from Hart. Punch combination. Hart lands the right hand. Van Zandt firing back with the left. Now, Hart a big right hand. Right hand on the exit. That was effective for Van Zandt.
But I mean, look at the connect.
Continually throughout this fight as she's doing here, throwing to the body, bombing to the body of Van Zandt, face of Britain Hart.
The more experienced bare-knuckle fighter showed Paige the difference between MMA and BKFC, and she fully avenged the grabbed neck from the stare down.
Get it, and she came out and she really put it on the line.
No matter how much of a showman you are or how badly you want to hype a fight, you should never cross the line. Phil Lo-Greco broke that rule and paid for it. Before his bout with former British champion Amir Khan, Lo-Greco went way too far. And this wasn't just typical sports arrogance, shoving, mocking, or other antics that still fall within the boundaries of acceptable behavior. Lo-Greco decided to play dirty.
After the Canelo loss, you went on a losing streak, family, wife. Then, wait a minute. Oh, guys, this is not Pakistan versus India. It's not a cricket match. You go out and you tweet to the heavyweight champion of the world that he can have your leftovers?
Amir Khan couldn't take it, lost his composure right at the press conference and splashed water in his opponent's face. And it was completely justified. Bringing up family and loved ones is crossing every boundary imaginable, and Khan was determined to punish the trash talker for his filthy mouth. And he started doing that immediately once the fight began.
Speed back. After 18 seconds that.
Lo-Greco tried to act unfazed and continued clowning, but Amir Khan repeated the lesson, and this time permanently shut his opponent up. A knockout in under a minute of the first round. You couldn't ask for a better form of justice.
Peter was blown away of his world super lightweight title that he won against him, but it was a late notice job for the Greco, who said, "Thank you for giving me 10 weeks of hard, intense."
David Haye lost the first fight to Tony Bellew largely because of a leg injury, and he simply couldn't accept that defeat. So much so that at the very first press conference for the rematch, he completely snapped.
Broke a man who's going to break your head. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to smash your f***ing head in. You're getting done. This right hand is going through your f***ing head. You're going to miss. You're going to miss. All of these f***ing retards know as well.
His opponent, even after winning, was far more respectful than Haye, and that cost David yet another fight. Last time Bellew finished him in the 11th round, but this time he needed way less. Late in round 3, Bellew dropped Haye with a beautiful counter left by the ropes. David got up and kept fighting, but only to hit the canvas again. The bell saved him from a complete collapse, but the next rounds went exactly the same way. Bellew kept dominating, and near the end of round 5, the climax arrived. Before the fight, Haye promised to take his countryman's head off, but reality had other plans. Bellew finished what he'd been doing all night. First, he sent Haye into yet another knockdown, and then he put a final, definitive end to this heated rivalry. A 5th-round knockout, a second KO over the same opponent, and a fully closed chapter. Well, once again, a fighter paid the price for big talk and empty threats.
Gets it absolutely right. It was beautiful boxing from Bellew.
Let's talk about another rematch. This guy's Zdravko Tarnagiev turned out to be the one who got way too cocky and paid the price for his behavior. On top of that, he even broke his hand and definitely got humbled, while his opponent Aitor Gaspar looked like the respectful, humble one. And and how everything changed in the rematch. This time, it was the complete opposite. Gaspar was showboating as hard as he could, and Tarnagiev looked like the most modest, soft-spoken man alive. Gaspar even smacked Zdravko's hands during the stare-down. The bald guy sprinted forward right from the opening bell, clearly trying to score a quick knockout. But shooting forward into grappling was a terrible mistake. Zdravko sprawled, defended the takedown, and started hammering his fists into the head of the overconfident opponent. Steady, methodical ground and pound, and the beautiful TKO was served. A symbolic moment, how the good guy becomes the villain, and the former cocky guy ends up switching to the side of righteousness. This guy talked way too much. At the weigh-in for the fight between Julius Long and Toews Vusiutu, things got heated, not just because of the blazing sun. Julius Long came out first, calmly stepped on the scales, and weighed in. But when his opponent appeared, Julius decided to clown around. Then, during the stare-down, he unleashed a machine gun volley of insults and tried to intimidate his opponent.
Stop talking. All that marketing that you're doing right now is fucking selling wolf chicken. Because when you fought Latelli, you was doing that same bullshit, right? And you fucking lost. And you fucking lost. And your fucking team behind you is fucking disrespectful. And they fucking lost, right? So you fucking lost.
Toews Vusiutu didn't like that, but he kept his composure and decided to respond inside the ring. Vusiutu immediately started venting all his pent-up anger on his opponent.
Just lays up for the crowd and
Julius even tried to show off in the ring, but it looked ridiculous. Vusiutu was determined to destroy.
Might be the right guy for it as well. Chris Condon, he's a big, strong referee. He might need to be as forward and tries to find the big shots over the body goes Vusiutu.
Oh, this is a jet. Whoa, whoa! Water back for all that referee.
Vusiutu, Long not happy with those shots. He says they're low, but they appear to be all right. Vusiutu fainting Vusiutu and then straight at the back of the head. And now Vusiutu goes. Long covering up.
Movement and the feigning is what he really needs.
He goes Long with a couple of shots in the crowd.
In the third round, he unleashed all his fury and bombarded his hated opponent.
Connects strongly, and now there's big trouble for Julius Long, who is against the ropes, and now
Talkative Julius surprisingly managed to get up, only for Vusiutu to continue working.
he is absorbing shots from the big punching Toews Vusiutu. Body shot Vusiutu. He's trying to set up the right hand. The left hook gets through. The right hand misses. One covers up.
In the final round, the climax came. Lesson: don't talk too much if you can't back it up.
Left hook sends Long down for the second time.
Anthony Joshua is clearly not the guy you want to pick a fight with or show disrespect to out of nowhere, especially if you're not Alexander Usyk or Andy Ruiz. Yet Dillian Whyte clearly didn't get the memo. Their fight took place 10 years ago, when Joshua was a young, undefeated British champion who had won all 14 of his career victories by knockout. This bout was supposed to be another defense for Anthony, and a heated showdown between two heavy punchers. And the fight indeed lived up to expectations, not only because of the outcome, but also due to the scandal that erupted after the first round.
9 rounds. That's up.
One on the bell. Oh, and look at... Banks is in there.
The ringing bell had no effect on Whyte. It seemed he lost his mind and charged at Joshua despite the referees and fight officials' shouts. True chaos erupted in the ring, which took a long time to calm down. Once things settled, it seemed everything was under control, but Joshua made a mental note. In the 7th round, he delivered a show-stopping beating. Anthony rocked Whyte, then, like a matador, started driving his opponent around the ring.
Whyte has paid for it. Now, Whyte backing up.
Yeah, he can't look for one big shot though, he's got to put them together.
And get this finished if he can. Can Whyte somehow this storm get through?
And finished with a decisive blow, a brutal uppercut that ended everything. Whyte wanted smoke, Whyte got smoke. That night, and in the ones that followed, Anthony Joshua never let anyone show him disrespect without paying the price.
And when he had him in trouble, he was utterly ruthless. Ruthless finish, absolutely stunning. Well, I'd said it in the last.
Badr Hari is a regular guest in rankings like this. The Dutchman has never been a humble, quiet, or respectful guy. His element is igniting conflict, firing himself up, and adding spice to any matchup. And this time, he didn't change his ways. In September 2021 at Glory 78, Badr Hari faced Arkadiusz Wrzosek. Even before the fight, Badr went off the rails, shoving his opponent during the stare-down, a clear sign that things would get heated in the ring. Arkadiusz didn't have time to respond, so the only chance for payback was in the fight itself. But even in the bout, Hari tried to bully his opponent, and at first, it was working.
Reach the same as Badr, into the ribcage, body kick.
Badr even dropped him first.
I can just guarantee you there'll be
and repeated it the moment Wrzosek got back up. Arkadiusz was a hair away from giving up and losing, both physically and morally humiliated, but he managed to find the strength to rise again. In the second round, nothing changed. Hari kept dominating. Everything pointed to Arkadiusz becoming yet another knocked-out, unknown name on Badr Hari's resume. But then, the unbelievable happened. A not-so-powerful, but perfectly timed high kick from the depths of hell landed flush on Badr Hari's head, sending him to the canvas where he didn't even try to get up. Karma sided with the good guy that night, and Hari learned a crucial lesson. It's not the hardest punch that knocks you out, but the one you don't see coming. If disrespect inside the cage were a person, it would look exactly like this man, Michael Venom Page, a second-generation kickboxer, a true natural, and an elite striker. MVP is a generational talent. He has so much skill that it spills over the edges and turns into non-stop clowning, taunting, and attempts to irritate his opponents every second he's in the cage. Everyone hates this behavior, but no one has managed to punish Page for it. However, the karmic weight hanging over Michael had reached astronomical levels. In his fight with Douglas Lima, Bellator's star didn't change a thing. He was himself, moving as usual, doing the same tricks and antics. It looked like we were in for another striking masterclass from Venom, and once again, justice would go unserved. Until suddenly, boom, Lima, with divine timing, kicks out MVP's support leg and, just as brilliantly and perfectly timed, fires a hellish uppercut straight from the underworld. A phenomenal knockout, and Michael Venom Page finally paid the price for all his cage shenanigans. This guy decided to play mind games right at the stare-down. Sharp movements, a smug grin, and an attempt to provoke. This kind of behavior is deliberately designed to mock the opponent and openly show disrespect. On top of that, he didn't hold back with his mouth either.
I'm gonna smoke him. All I'm gonna say is like however, what I will say is it's game over for him. He calls himself the businessman, but this is probably the worst deal he ever made.
No. Put me back on for you.
Oh, you got there in the locker.
Hey.
Callum, the guy he looks like me. This guy, to be fair, we look pretty similar. This guy looks like me if you bought me off Wish, like the budget version or something like that.
The main goal of this approach is to get inside the opponent's head, and actions like that must be punished. His opponent did exactly that. From the very start of the fight, he was winning every exchange, breaking the guy down and making him pay for every word he said. And by the end of the bout, the climax arrived. The cocky fighter was punished, and justice was finally served. One of the dumbest, boldest, and most dangerous things you can possibly do is play with fire and figuratively spit in the face of guys who can put you to sleep with a single hand movement.
I know you're my guy there. I'm not naked. Don't touch me.
Especially when we're talking about heavyweights fighting bare knuckle. These guys don't joke around. And at the stare down between two big men, Leonardo Perdomo and Steve Aurelius, one of them couldn't keep himself in check and did something men simply don't do to each other. A flick to the nose, as if the person in front of him wasn't a grown professional fighter, but a little younger brother who needs to be taught a lesson. Aurelius clearly lost his composure, and from that moment, Perdomo was dead set on revenge. A karmic marker was placed. Perdomo was overflowing with the desire to pay him back, and he rushed forward from the very first seconds. Right hook, left hook, everything with massive power. And then, in one moment, the left hook finds its target. Perdomo closes the gestalt almost instantly and calms down, while Aurelius learns the main lesson. Karma isn't a metaphorical concept. It's very real. Ricardo Mayorga is one of the most hated boxers among fans. He came straight out of real crime and the ghetto, and he never left his old habits behind, continuing to disrespect opponents with the same irrational aggression.
Playito, esto es una película. Aquí no vas a cantar como maricón que quería entrar a música. Esto es boxeo, maricón, boxeo. 9, 70. Cuando le pegue, no vea. Lo voy a sentar y lo poner a orinar. 2, 3. Yo era vago cuando era jefe de pandilla y me agarraba con un puñal. Y esto es con hecho, no es mentira. Yo no juego con muñeca como Oscar. Ni estoy debajo de la falda de mi mamá.
But this time he faced a sports legend, an aging one, but still a legend, Oscar de la Hoya. Oscar behaved calmly and respectfully, but Mayorga immediately sensed a victim in him. Ricardo humiliated Oscar from the very first day their fight was announced. But once the media sessions and press conferences started, he truly went off the rails and began doing what he absolutely shouldn't have.
Dile a tu mujer que te dé huevo en la mañana para que te pares a pelear conmigo. No te vayas a tirar como cuando te tiraste con Bernajoki, playo. No sabes ni representar tu raza, maricón. Por eso, mira, todos los latinos van a estar conmigo.
Mayorga kept feinting punches, insulting Oscar, even slapping him. But the final straw were his comments about Oscar's wife and homeland. After that, De La Hoya delivered a speech with absolute seriousness.
Tú le faltaste respeto a dos cosas que yo amo. Dos cosas. Ayer dijiste algo de mi esposa y ahora mencionaste a mi raza. Y con eso no se juega. Y te voy a noquear. Mayo 6 te voy a noquear.
Como el tipo me cae tan mal, yo pelearía hasta gratis con él. No le quiero ganar, a él no lo quiero noquear. A él lo quiero matar, parándole el corazón con mi derecha.
Finally, fight night arrived, and from the very first second, Oscar looked like he had become 10 years younger. His speed and accuracy were phenomenal. Mayorga couldn't do anything and was immediately knocked down by De La Hoya's hook. Ricardo's face was no longer as cheerful as it was during his trash talk, and Oscar was only warming up. This was just the beginning of the vendetta. It looked like Oscar wanted to kill him. Every punch was loaded with rage and fury. Another sharp combination sent Mayorga back to the canvas. Then came another knockdown. Ricardo was paying for every single word he had said. And when the fight reached its natural ending, Oscar finished it spectacularly, landing 30 consecutive punches to the bully's head. He beat Mayorga so badly, the referee had no choice but to step in. Oscar de la Hoya never delivered another performance like that again. But that night, he defended his honor in the most emphatic way possible. And Ricardo Mayorga's career went downhill. After a beating like that, intimidating anyone became nearly impossible. That night, karma worked with perfect accuracy.
His opponent, Ricardo Mayorga, turned. It is deafening in here. He's feeling it. This is the feeling he wanted to feel again as he's being carried around.
99% of all boxing videos will include something related to Mike Tyson. So we're not breaking tradition, and instead telling the story of the most unhinged version of Tyson. When people talk about show-offs, they usually mention Mike destroying another boxer who's clearly walking into the slaughter. But that's not punishment for trash talk. Those guys knew they would lose. They just wanted some media attention and a decent paycheck. It's a completely different story when Iron Mike himself, after prison and a suspension, decided he wanted to become world champion again and called out Lennox Lewis. It all started with a post-fight interview.
Yeah, Lennox Lewis. Lennox, I'm coming for you.
Mike, is it frustrating to train like you did and then have this in 7 or 8 seconds?
For this fight, I only trained probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks for this fight. I had to bury my best friend, and I dedicated this fight. I wasn't going to fight. I dedicated this fight to him. I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lennox is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to even fuse it.
Are you saying now, Mike?
After that freestyle, the whole world wanted to see Tyson versus Lewis. And to pour even more fuel into the hype machine, a press conference was scheduled, one that could surpass anything you've ever seen in terms of pure insanity. It all began calmly with a stare down. Then the fighters stepped closer, and a brawl broke out, during which Mike bit Lennox's leg. And when they were finally separated, Tyson was so out of his mind that it wasn't even clear who he was yelling at.
Mike Tyson curses out his crowd. I don't even know what he's talking specifically.
After this chaos, the city that planned to host the fight refused to issue a license, and the promoters had to change locations. The hype was off the charts. The fight set a new pay-per-view record, 1 million buys. That night, two polar opposites collided. First, the quiet, technical, disciplined athlete who never stepped out of line. Second, the madman who said so much wild stuff that even grown men felt uneasy around him. And, as usual, most people supported the second guy. Early in the fight, Mike didn't disappoint his fans. He looked like he was 20 again.
Ah, et avec Tyson, on connaît son punch.
Tyson s'était lâché un moment, a installé Tyson sous un forêt.
Attention quand même.
Ah, c'est sûr, c'est l'arme fatale, c'est l'arme idéale.
In the first 3 rounds, he managed to shake Lennox. But over time, Lewis's jab and clinch work did their job. By the 5th round, the Brit was hitting almost exclusively with his left hand, practically toying with Mike. This enraged Tyson's trainer so much that he started shoving Lewis between rounds.
Il avait remporté la reprise.
Là, y a rien. Pour Mike Tyson.
Et on est tombé, Tyson sur la droite. Et qui regardait l'arbitre.
Demanding that he finish Mike. Once Lennox began working with both hands, Tyson had no chances left. A right cross took every last bit of life out of him, along with the remnants of his legendary aura. James Gallagher thought he was untouchable. 12 wins deep, chest out, full of swagger, copying every move from his idol Conor McGregor.
She blocked me?
Walk, the talk, even the trash.
I feel like I've got all the options. I really do believe that there's no one better than me in the world, and no one's proved me different. No one's proved me different. I haven't never felt that anyone has ever come close to proving me different. I'm the best in the world. There's no one that it's not even that I think I'm better. I know there's no one better than me. I know I'm the best 135er in the whole division and 45er.
And that's a first round finish. I'm going to go in there from the bell.
You heard him.
Shots blazing. And I reckon I'm going to choke him in the first round.
First round.
Choke him in the first round.
But I'm just too good. I'm just too good. He's not my level. I'm that step above. I'm that next killer up.
He called Ricky Bandejas an easy night. He laughed, danced, taunted, and threw wild promises into the cameras like he was already crowned. But Ricky wasn't there for show. He was there to shut that mouth.
Did you feel a little more nervous before this fight than in the past?
No, definitely not. We had CFFC runs a good show. You know, they packed the house and it's got the lights and everything. It feels like the real show minus the live TV. So I was ready for this.
Gallagher started fast with kicks and attitude, but Bandejas stayed calm. He waited. Then came the counter, a brutal right hand that dropped the Irishman to the canvas. Gallagher tried to recover, but Bandejas followed up with a lightning-fast head kick, then a barrage of punches that left Gallagher staring at the lights. The trash talker got taught a harsh lesson. Talking trash doesn't make you win the fight. That night, all the flash and hype meant nothing. Bandejas walked away with the win. Gallagher walked away humbled and finally quiet.
It didn't make any sense. You know, we're about to fight in a minute. I had no idea why the hell he was acting like an animal. But, you know, we fought a minute later and look what happened.
Let's take a quick trip back to Michael Venom Page. You haven't forgotten him yet, right? The Brit is the walking definition of a cocky fighter, but even he sometimes ends up playing on the good guy side, especially when fighters way below his level try to boost their ego at his expense. And that's exactly what happened here. The main victim in this story was Richard Keeley, and he made his mark long before the fight even began. For MVP, this matchup was just another easy walkthrough, another boring day at the office. But for Keeley, this seemed to be the biggest moment of his entire life. That's why he squeezed every drop of attention from this fight even before it happened. The most memorable display of stupidity came at the stare down. A little scuffle broke out, and at that moment, Page took note. He held on to that grudge and decided he'd settle the score inside the cage. MVP started in his trademark style. The Brit was faster.
Can he overcome it as quickly as some feel he might?
Sharper and untouchable. He landed whenever he wanted, denied every attempt of Keeley to fire back, and of course, mocked and toyed with a man who was several levels below him.
Look at this, he's just taunting him. Speed is just blurring. There's no threat from the bottom.
At one point, Keeley ended up flat on his back, and Page began dropping bombs from the top. MVP completely snapped. unloading everything he remembered from the stare down. But in classic Venom fashion, he went a bit too far and got warned by the ref. A strange moment from both the fighter and the referee, but it didn't derail MVP's game at all. He returned to his feet, kept dominating the distance, and then unleashed a laser-accurate flying knee. No follow-up was needed. MVP didn't even look at his opponent. He didn't have to. Instead, he chose to collect his revenge and mock the defeated fighter one last time. Sometimes to beat evil, you don't need good. You need a stronger evil. And Michael Venom Page fits that role perfectly.
Michael Venom Page.
Moving away from Bellator, let's head to South Africa, specifically Johannesburg. In the EFC promotion, a welterweight bout took place between Jose De Rocha and Pupanga Tresor. The act of disrespect here was brief, but extremely ugly and rude. Right at the weigh-in and stare-down, Pupanga Tresor decided to do something strange. He suddenly ran up to the Brazilian and shouted loudly in his face for no clear reason. Jose De Rocha didn't react at all, and didn't show that it bothered him. Everyone else was confused about the purpose of this action. Tresor tried to openly humiliate his opponent, and although he didn't succeed, the moment still left a mark. De Rocha decided to respond in the cage. In the very first round, he rolled Tresor over in classic Brazilian style, then controlled him for several minutes, giving him no room to breathe. For a brief moment, he even allowed Tresor to try getting up, but that was only to lure the disrespectful opponent into a trap. De Rocha caught him in a Darcy choke, locked it in with no chance of escape, and nearly tore Tresor's neck off. Tresor had to tap out, signaling that he couldn't continue. A brutal finish, and the perfect way to punish a cocky opponent. Tresor learned the hard way that playing games with De Rocha was a terrible idea.
Very difficult, high level of difficulty, absolutely effortlessly.
We're not leaving Johannesburg yet, because there's an even crazier case from the EFC promotion. Even crazier because it involves a former UFC champion. Long before Dricus du Plessis was breaking Adesanya and getting tested by Chimaev, he was terrorizing tough fighters in his home country. In this fight, Dricus faced a fighter named Yannick Bahati. The line was already crossed at the stare-down. It got heated, and both fighters had reasons to be angry. However, Bahati couldn't hold back and made a very rude and ugly move toward du Plessis, a loud slap across the face. Pure trash talk. And after that, Bahati also let loose a lot of unnecessary words. Du Plessis was determined to punish the cocky no-name in the cage. The fighters started cautiously in the stand-up, occasionally trading punches. Bahati was the first to break the status quo and went for a takedown. That was exactly what Dricus was waiting for. The South African locked in a guillotine from the clinch and brought the fight to the canvas. Bahati fought to survive and showed remarkable willpower. But du Plessis' physical strength and relentlessness were decisive. Dricus finished the submission, forcing his opponent to tap and deeply regret his dirty behavior before the fight. With the karmic debt settled in this promotion, du Plessis set off to conquer the main MMA stage in the world. Here's another case with a future UFC fighter, and not just any fighter, but a real title contender, and one of the most elite bantamweights in the world. Before becoming a top-level, ironclad star in the main promotion, Corey Sandhagen was giving local fighters in LFA nightmares. And once again, the script was the same: cocky behavior before the fight at the stare-down, which Corey clearly didn't provoke and wasn't ready for. Sandhagen is generally a polite, calm, and respectful guy. This unprovoked behavior from his opponent was nothing but a slap in the face. Pure disrespect. Toninho Marajo, remember this name? He's the villain in this story. Corey didn't respond on stage. Instead, he decided to deliver justice in the cage, and not just randomly. Corey didn't fly off the handle trying to knock out his opponent with a single punch. Sandhagen started a cold, methodical, and unavoidable punishment, literally giving a disciplinary lesson with his hands and feet. Marajo suffered through the entire first round until Sandhagen decided to finish the educational lesson near the cage. A brutal low kick drained half of his energy, a left hook sent him crashing to the canvas, and several hammering rights drove the final nails into the coffin. Fights with Peter Yan and Merab Dvalishvili for the UFC championship belt would come later. But for now, Sandhagen enjoyed a small yet satisfying punishment for the cocky opponent. As we've seen, being cocky in combat sports can get you a long way, until it doesn't. From weigh-ins to stare-downs, from the first bell to the final round, the moment you underestimate your opponent or disrespect them, karma is never far behind. Every trash talk, every unnecessary gesture, every careless word has a price, and the cage has a way of collecting the bill. These fighters thought they were untouchable, untamed, unbeatable. But in the end, skill, timing, and respect always find a way to even the scales. It's a brutal, beautiful reminder that in the world of MMA, pride comes before the fall,